That was about dare to vision, and you can get a sense of the sorts of visions that people have had and the complexity of doing that. So we may say, this is what I really want to do, and then you find that, well, actually other people don't want to do quite that with me. So somehow I've got to another vision, which is I've got to develop this community in order to get this division. Maybe I've got to let go of some of this vision in order to make this one work. And maybe then there's another layer. And some visions, some work starts with a practical project which has underneath it a spiritual or moral issue, but is primarily practical. So there's an interweaving of different sorts of layers of vision. The next theme is link arms with others. Joanna writes, whatever it is that has drawn you to doing the Great Turning, don't even think of doing it alone. The hyper-individualism of competitive industrialised culture has isolated people from each other, breeding conformity, obedience, and an epidemic of loneliness. The good news of the Great Turning is that it is a team undertaking. Well, this book was certainly a team undertaking, I can tell you that. And also many of the stories are about team undertakings. So you've got people who have a vision and then need to draw other people into that vision in order to make it work. The amount of work and dedication that's needed to create and develop and lead and participate in that kind of way is phenomenal. When I started being involved with participatory research, I had this image, well, it's jolly nice, you just participate with people, you get people in. It's hard work, it's tough work, it's a work in its own right. But we need to link arms with others for several reasons. Sometimes we need to work together because we've got to share the tasks and skills to get the job done. But our contributors also recognise that collaboration and solidarity are politically important values in their own right. And linking with others also brings a sense of belonging and conviviality, of working and playing alongside others, which is an inestimable value. So it's not just a practical thing, it's just because we need to do it, and we need to find new ways of association. And the last principle, which I just leave with you, is act your age. And how old are you? Some of you know the answer. We're all 4.5 billion years old, because we are part of the whole universe. Now is the time to clothe ourselves in our true authority. Every particle in every atom of our cell in our body goes back to the primal flaring forth of space and time. In that sense, you are as old as the universe, with an age of about 14 billion years. This current body of yours has been prepared for this moment by Earth for some 4 billion years. You have the absolute right to step forward and act on Earth's behalf. And this, you will find, flows through the chapters in different kinds of ways, some people making it more explicit than others, but it's there all the time. So, is this enough? Is this contribution that is represented in the book, is it enough? And obviously the answer is no. But that doesn't diminish the value of the present moment. Annie writes in her chapter about how, even if her garden were to disappear, that wouldn't diminish the value of having done it. Christine said, there's a seed in everyone that needs the right conditions to grow. And one of the reasons for planting seeds is to inspire others to plant all. And if enough of us plant these seeds, maybe we can resist those who want to undermine the whole sense of the ecological crisis, the 1%, as Occupy would have it. And maybe we can, if enough of us are doing these small things, we draw attention to our lords and masters, the importance of doing that. Barack Obama may disappoint us in many ways, but he also gets some things right. And when he went to Israel, he spoke over the heads of the politicians to the young people. And one of the things he said to them is something that he really obviously clearly knows. He said, we politicians can only do things if you guys have prepared the soil for us. And if we prepare the soil well enough, maybe they have to act. So there's something really important, I think, in understanding these quite small in the greater scheme of things, quite small actions that take so much of our work and so much of our sense of being. So perhaps in offering this book of stories, we're scattering seeds. Some will fall by the wayside and some on stony ground of apathy and scepticism, but others will take root and produce more story seeds. And we did have this image of having a website on which other people could write their stories and stuff like that, but we thought, no, let's just put the book out into the world and see how it goes, and that's what we're doing. And we really appreciate you all coming along, both to talk about your chapters and also to come and listen. And I can't let this moment go without appreciating Sarah and what she has created in Bala, and her vision and her practicality and her managing to hold those two together so very effectively. So Helen Moore, who's one of our contributors, but also a well-recognised poet, I was going to say local poet, but more than local, going to do a little poem about the Great Turning, and then we'll let you free.
Yep. So it follows on very nicely from the Act Your Age, and also the principle of sharing gratitude. I thank my ancestors after Joanna Macy. Thank you, infinitesimally great grandmother worm, for gifting us the swirl of blood pulsing through our bodies to feed each tiny cell. And praise be upon you. Thank you, ancestor fish, for evolving vertebrae that lend our spines the flexibility to move, to bend, to walk upon our feet. And praise be upon you. Dear fish, thank you once more for bequeathing your jawbones to become the stirrup, anvil, hammer, eardrum that allow us to hear other beings. And praise be upon you. Thank you, old cousin reptile, for a brain that alerts us to danger. And to you, paleo mammal, for a limbic system opening us to pleasure. And praise be upon you both. Thanks, dear monkey sibling, for developing eyes in the front of your head. It freed you to climb and leap, while binocular vision gives us focal depth. And praise be upon you too. Sister ape, thank you for sharing your DNA and your intelligence. Also for hands to learn the use of tools. May every being pick up appropriate technology. Then praise be upon us all.